goodness. I haven't watched it, and that's a couple of times I've seen it. I find it really tough to watch, so I can see and understand completely why you do, because you live this. You live those moments with him, and watching it back there again, it's obviously still very emotional for you.
It's super upsetting. We were talking about this because I didn't see the documentary till the week before it was out, so I hadn't really seen any of the footage. And you know, obviously, we've been together almost 18 years. I've heard all these stories, different stories, and they're painful stories. But for something to be a story that you've heard and for you to kind of visualize it, and then for you to actually watch it in real time unfold and to see, you know, the person you love the most in this world, to watch their trauma, it's like watching the cuts happen, and to see his pain and to not be able to jump in and fix it, to save him, to protect him, is so upsetting. It's weird. It's obviously in the past, but you're watching it, and it's, you know, you're watching someone experience deep pain, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it becomes incredibly vivid when you see it play out. It's so bizarre to watch a story that you know from the past be the real thing. And I, you know, on so many levels felt. I mean, I think after I watched the documentary, I felt like I'd been emotionally hit by a bus. I just didn't. There was so much. There was so much to process, and it gave me an even deeper understanding of his pain and his story and where he's come from and where his battles have been. You know, I'm incredibly proud of the man he is today, and I'm incredibly proud of his recovery and the way he has navigated some of this. But it is so hard for me to watch that. You know, when I saw those eyes at Leeds when he's looking up, and, you know, and everyone's there so excited and so happy, and you know someone is suffering. It is so hard, and he was just so young too, you know?
And I suppose there's just no room made, is there? Because addiction is a horrendous thing, but you're supposed to be enjoying every single moment because you've got this money, you've got this crowd, but anyone can see the pain there. And I was just trying to imagine, if we think about, because it's Mark, my husband, as you know, has been sober 20 years, and I know a lot of the traumatic events in his life. And I'm just trying to imagine if I actually then saw it, it played out like that. I don't know how I could bear it. And you will know as well as I do about rescuing, and within the addiction world, there's usually somebody that will be rescuing that person. And I don't know, has that been a difficult thing for you to come to terms with? Because at the beginning of Mark's recovery, I was told, you know, you're a rescuer, you're both codependent, and I kept trying to change it. But actually, in the end, we both decided we quite liked those roles, and it works. Is that...
100%. I mean, I didn't know, I didn't have a label for it. It wasn't like I met Rob and was like, I'm here to rescue you, you know, like, here I am. And it was just, you know, going back to the soulmates thing, this is my person. I'm going to protect him at all costs. There wasn't a conscious choice of, I'm the savior, he's the person I'm going to save. It just was an organic evolution of our relationship, and we're definitely codependent. You know, I didn't really know it
until somebody
I'm
told
happily
me.
codependent.
I know
it can be
happily codependent.
I know that sounds weird, and codependent isn't supposed to be an okay thing, and in toxic situations, it's a very dangerous thing. But I actually really enjoy being Rob's person, and you know, and he's my person, and we're in the fold together.
But this will resonate with so many people, and not necessarily with addiction, just any carer of any type watching the show right now will understand that sort of role, because you love this person, you want to do the best for them. But then sometimes you need to be looked after. The carer or the rescuer, they need a bit of help and love.
Like that,
and it's basically what I was about to say. Do you almost struggle with that? You don't want to admit that
I struggle with well, I mean, this sounds like a therapy session, but I definitely am like, you know, I'm like, but there's no one to help me, you know, like just crying, you know, it can be difficult because when you're you know, I think especially with women, we can feel like that with our kids, not just your partner, you know, it's like, I'm all about my children. I'm there, you know, I will put myself last on the list, not because I'm so amazing. It's just naturally what I do. I want everyone to be happy. I'm a people pleaser. I'm a, you know, that's my safe space. But sometimes, it's exhausting. Sometimes you do want someone to scoop you up. I look at my dog Poupette and I'm like, it's your turn. You know, and she's like, you know.
Got 8 of them.
I've got 8 of them. That's why I need a lot of help.
I'm so grateful for the fact that, you know, my ex-husband, Tim, the boy's dad, was so brilliant with my mental illness and addictions. Obviously, Lincoln and I are, I think, codependent. I used to go, but I'm financially independent. I go, no, you're thinking it was a real weakness, and I didn't really understand the meaning of it. But I think watching Robbie on there is just, it's really that word triggering. And, you know, Twitter will go, she's talking about herself. But as somebody who has done performances on stage in front of people in abject anxiety, which is not nerves, or with episodes of depression and got through. And I always talk about my depression as a separate entity. So once I've got through it, I have to say, do you see? I did it with you, so I can damn well do it without you, and also, you know, treat it like a separate entity. But watching Matty, just because I've never played to that many people, watching my son, when everyone says you're watching him play to 20,000 people and they say, oh, you must be so proud. Of course I'm proud of, you know, both my boys, all my boys. But all I'm thinking is he okay? Because he has a tendency to the dark side as well. And all I'm looking in his eyes, as much as I can see, to see if he's doing okay. Because everybody, you don't want to let people down. So everybody, as Robbie Williams comes up, as Matty, you know, comes up on whatever height, you know, they come onto the stage,
crane,
everyone's screaming and they're so happy and they think that you're so happy because you're in that position.
I think anyone could kind of relate to that loves somebody that struggles. It could be somebody having to go out to work
Just
in an
going to
office
work
today
is a
and they've
massive
got anxiety or depression.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it is tiring for the other person. It can be, because you do have to often put yourself second. But it's also can be very rewarding as well. You know, if you really have met your person like you do, it's a beautiful thing to pass it back and forth, even though it can be tough.
Yeah. And I think it's also a real measure of the person, isn't it? It's the measure of yourselves, having the strength. And like you say, you get a lot back, but equally so you are giving a lot. But it can work, is the answer to it. But it can be tough, and sometimes you just do need a moment to yourself. And I think that
And you need your friends.
And you
need your friends,
absolutely. Of course you do. Of course you do.